controlled the Congress, they deemed 38 different items as passed in rules. There's an old saying, Mr. Speaker, people who live in glass houses should not throw stones. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I reserve.
Gentlewoman reserves. Gentleman from Massachusetts.
Mr. Speaker, I yield myself such time as I may consume.
Gentleman's recognized.
A few minutes ago, I laid out how Donald Trump's tariffs are causing chaos and hurting families. And I want to explain why we are unable to force a vote to block them here in the House, even though the International Emergency Economic Powers Act and the National Emergencies Act provide a process to terminate national emergencies through a privileged joint resolution. So I have a parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman stages inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, the House Rules Manual says here, and I quote, a privileged motion to discharge a committee from further consideration of a joint resolution terminating an emergency is available after the measure has been referred to committee for 15 calendar days. And a member of this House, Ranking Member Meeks, introduced House Joint Resolution 72, terminating the national emergency imposing tariffs on Canada 34 days ago. And earlier, I offered a motion to discharge his joint resolution from committee and bring it to the floor. Why wasn't it allowed?
Gentleman asking me?
Yes.
Gentleman's inquiry is not relevant to the current proceedings.
Yeah. Well, what I'm just trying to figure out is whether it is in order in the House to move to discharge House Resolution 72 or HJ Res 73 from committee so they can be considered on the floor. And I guess we're not going to get an answer, but it wasn't allowed because Republicans changed how time itself works in the House to prevent a vote on tariffs that is allowed under the law. Now, I just want to be clear here, Mr. Speaker, because the stakes are very high. We're talking about whether this House has the authority under the current rules to stop the President of the United States from imposing disastrous, calamitous tariffs that are causing economic chaos, raising prices for regular Americans, and causing uncertainty for businesses. A motion to discharge Ranking Member Meeks' resolution is not allowed because Republicans literally changed the definition of what a day is to protect themselves from voting on tariffs. Now, we should have been able to call it up after 15 days, but Republicans are pretending 34 days is less than 15 days. Republicans rigged the rules to protect Donald Trump, Mr. Speaker, and to protect themselves from voting on his tariffs. House Resolution 211, which the Republican majority adopted in March, changed the operation of the calendar. Mr. Speaker, a further parliamentary inquiry.
Gentleman, state his inquiry.
I have the resolution in front of me, and it says that each day for the remainder of the first session of the 119th Congress shall not constitute a calendar day for purposes of Section 202 of the National Emergencies Act with respect to a joint resolution terminating a national emergency declared by the President on February 1, 2025. So that resolution changed the operation of the National Emergencies Act and the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, also known as the law, to make sure that members of this House cannot force a vote on Trump's tariffs. Is that right, Mr. Speaker?
This inquiry is not relevant to the discussion.
Okay. In fact, that is right, Mr. Speaker. You might not want to opine on it, but the truth is Republicans rigged the rules to prevent a vote on these tariffs, a vote that members of this body would have been able to demand if we were following the law. Now, I want to get to the bottom of why we can't vote on these tariffs. So, Mr. Speaker, I have a further parliamentary inquiry.
Gentleman will state his inquiry.
The National Emergencies Act states that a joint resolution to terminate a national emergency passed by one House shall be referred to the appropriate committees of the other House, at which point the 15-day clock would start if Republicans hadn't magically stopped time. According to that provision in law, Senator Kaine of Virginia's resolution terminating the national emergency to impose tariffs on Canada, which was adopted by the Senate last week in a bipartisan vote. But according to that, that bill must be referred to committee. Is that correct, Mr. Speaker?
Gentleman's inquiry is, again, not relevant to the proceedings